Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the vlog. My name is Jasmine McDonald. If you're new here, I post ballet and fitness related videos every single Tuesday, Thursday, now Sunday. And if you're also new, you may as well hit subscribe. I am in my kitchen this morning because this morning I woke up pretty early. And you know those mornings when you feel really motivated to clean, to do stuff? Well, it was the long weekend in Canada today, so we weren't home for the entire weekend, and I haven't been home since Wednesday evening. Thursday, I left for work and I stayed over at my parents since Thursday, and it's currently Tuesday. So I just needed to clean and put the dishes away and just kind of get everything in sorts, you know? So I did that this morning. Yeah, I did that this morning, and I cleaned a bunch of the dishes that were dirty since last week. And I never film in the kitchen, and I think that's because I don't enjoy my kitchen as much. It's not the perfect kitchen that I want right now, but that's okay. And I just have to get over that and get over my ego because, you know, it's a very functional kitchen, and I think it's more relatable to you guys anyways, instead of seeing the pristine, perfect, aesthetic houses all the time. Like I saw somebody post a vlog and they're like, point of view, you don't live in an aesthetic house. And that shouldn't stop you from doing something like YouTube or filming. You know, you don't have to have the perfect, pristine marble countertops to be able to film. I want to hang out with you guys in the kitchen. I am going to plant a little bit today. I got some herbs and some vegetables for our raised vegetable garden, but our raised vegetable garden isn't done yet. Steven is still going to add another layer. But I am going to try to pot and plant the herbs this morning. I really love herbs. I got basil, I got rosemary, I got 2 parsleys. I know Steven doesn't care for parsley as much, but I love it on pasta. And I also got another herb I can't think of, but maybe that was it actually. Maybe I just got 4 herbs, but I'm gonna plant those tonight. We also got tomatoes yesterday at the garden gallery. We got cucumbers, and we also bought, what else did we buy? Peppers, which we're really excited to try out. Apparently peppers are really difficult to plant, so we'll have to Google some tips. One of the tips Steven's mom gave to us was to sprinkle some calcium around, so we have some powdered skim milk, and that helps the growth of some of the plants, I think for tomatoes specifically. So without further ado, I'm gonna clean up. I'm also gonna do a ballet class today because I teach tonight at 4:30 to 8, but I wanna move a little bit. I didn't really move this weekend because I was at the dance competition and back home, back at my parents, back at Steve's parents, and all over the place. I just wanna ground myself and do a ballet class, but before that, I'm gonna clean up the kitchen, maybe meal prep a bit too. I have a bunch of bananas that are about to go bad. We bought these at Costco last week and they're already spotty, but I think they're perfect and they're perfectly ripe in my opinion. So I'm gonna cut these up and freeze them just so we have them for smoothies. I'm gonna put all the dishes away, wipe down the countertops, and then go and plant outside. Such a go-getter this morning. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in a bit. The reality of having company and cooking a lot, you got a lot of dishes. Also the reality of not having a dishwasher. So I'm gonna take care of this and then cut up those and freeze them. Regardless of wherever my teaching or my YouTube career takes me, I will always love having mornings off. I just love the idea of being able to be productive, but also being able to kind of relax when everybody else is working, everybody else is in a rush. I feel like I have most of my energy in the mornings to do tasks otherwise I wouldn't do in the evenings after work. I worked a full-time job in the summer last year in 2022, and I remember I would come back home, teach a night, and then try to do chores, and I was beyond exhausted. So having my mornings back, because of you guys mostly, has been really, really nice. So thank you for that. Definitely need to water these guys soon. They're looking pretty thirsty. What was one of the selling points to this kind of garden thingy was that it has something to drain on the bottom, which is nice. We're gonna put the herbs in this one and keep the basil in its own plant or pot because it's pretty big. We got some organic triple mix here. We're gonna pour it in here. Whew. I am already making one giant mess. As with every new skill or hobby, there is a learning curve, and that learning curve happens to be the fact that we used the wrong soil. Yeah, apparently we were supposed to use potting soil, but again, it's all part of the learning experience. Neither of us are gardeners, so you know what? I'm trying to be easy on us, but we'll have to do this whole process again. But you know what? It's totally fine. I don't really know what I'm doing. I did my research on how to plant them, but I don't know if this is a good technique. So I got parsley. I really like parsley on pasta. And I also got some rosemary. And the basil, like I mentioned before, I'm gonna keep in its own pot just because it's really big right now. But the internet said to dig a hole as deep as the container and then double the width of the container. So 2 of those would be out to here. So, oh my goodness. or double the width of the plant. I can't remember, but let's just go for it. I might want to just use my hands. There we go, that looks like a good hole. I also have this, and it does say for containers to mix into soil at the time of planting. So I'm gonna mix into the soil before planting them. For established plants, shake evenly into soil and lightly work in. So I think I'll do that, and it looks pretty easy. You just give it a dime amount. That's probably good enough. And I'm going to work it into the soil evenly and lightly. I probably shouldn't have dug that hole first, but now there's extra here, but that's okay. So let's do this parsley first. Ooh, he's just falling apart. Him in there. That looks good. You know what? I'm just gonna use my bare hands because what's the big deal? It's just soil. Ah! Get away, mosquito. Go away. That looks good for one. Okay, I'm gonna do the second one right in the middle. On the positive side of things, even though we totally did this entire process wrong, it just gives us a second opportunity to really hone in on our gardening skills, really grow that green thumb, if you know what I mean. Steve is actually on his way back home, and he's currently picking up some potting soil because, yeah, we're gonna have to replant these babies. But I'm very happy with how it turned out, despite the fact that the soil is completely wrong. Nonetheless, we'll get it fixed, and I'll have to update you guys once that is all fixed and sorted. After that planting and gardening experience, I had some lunch, then threw on my pointe shoes and decided to do a pointe/ballet class. Lately, I've been working on the things that I really need to work on, such as holding my extensions without my hand and working on the strength of my flexibility. Since I started social media, I've had to really look at myself in another perspective, and by that, I mean I get a lot of comments, especially on my Instagram, and a lot of comments that I don't think are the most loving, but I take in a loving way. For example, I posted that I recently became certified as a barrefit instructor, and someone else commented, "Oh, I would never learn from you because you have student mistakes, your technique's terrible, and you can't even hold your leg for more than 10 seconds without your hand." Okay, maybe some of that is true, and I'm going to work on that. But rather than giving power to that person who's trying to bring me down, I'm going to take what they said with a grain of salt, maybe work on some of the things because they probably have a point with some things. And even if they didn't, who cares? I'm going to keep doing me as long as it's not hurting anybody. And again, I'm not going to let it get to me. I used to let comments get to me a lot, especially if I posted a video, was really proud of it, and then a comment like that would come up on my feed. I would spend like hours thinking of how I could have done better. But in the year of 2023, we are not going to give any kind of power to any kind of negativity, whether that be from somebody else or even yourself. There is such thing as helpful and constructive criticism from both other parties as well as yourself. If you're in my same position and somebody is giving you criticism, whether it be helpful or not, either take it with a grain of salt if they are genuinely trying to help and coming from a place of love for you, or like I said, just let it roll off your shoulder and don't give any power to that negativity, especially if somebody's trying to bring you down. It's just not worth your time or energy. Kind of ironic I'm talking about it now and dedicating an entire segment of my video to negativity, but I hope you guys know that I'm dedicating it to combat negativity, not to enforce it. Please, please, please treat others with kindness, and if anything in the world, be kind. I know that got super cheesy super fast. Sorry about it. Today it is Wednesday, May 24th, and I asked you guys to ask me anything on Instagram, so I figured I would do my makeup and answer these questions that you guys had for me on my Instagram. I cannot do my makeup at a vanity or even standing up really. I just have to sit on the floor. I don't know what it is, but I have to sit on the floor when I do my makeup. But anyways, how hard was it to gain back flexibility? And by that, I think you mean back flexibility, like spine flexibility. I'd say for me, I was more naturally flexible in my back than a lot of other places. Like I wasn't naturally flexible in my hamstrings at all, especially when it came to my right leg splits. So back flexibility really wasn't such a difficult thing for me. I will, however, say conditioning my glutes and my posterior chain, which I have videos about on my channel, I would highly recommend because that helped me personally. And I actually have a flexibility workout on my channel dedicated to back flexibility, so definitely check that out. What would you choose, being prima in a small theater or corps de ballet in a famous theater? Younger me would have absolutely have said being in a famous theater and being corps de ballet. I thought the biggest thing about my career was the status of the company I was in. And that's just not true, because especially if you start out in a smaller theater and you do bigger roles, that gives you a lot more opportunity. And why not have opportunity while you're young? Why not be pushed on stage to do the harder, more difficult, big principal roles while you're younger? And then if you ever decide to move to a bigger company because they tend to pay better, then you have that under your belt as well. And that's a huge asset when you're being hired at other places. So I would say me back then would have said that. I would have said I would have rather been in a big company as a quarter ballet member, but me now, definitely prima in a small company. Do you only dance ballet? I do not only dance ballet. I am trained in ballet, jazz, tap, lyrical, contemporary, modern. I did hip hop, but I'm not good at it in the slightest. My teacher called my gainers cheater shoes, but they're the only shoes that fit my wide foot. Honestly, I personally don't like gainer mindens for students either. I feel like you can't roll through your demi-pointe and they prop you up, and you don't learn to properly hold yourself up as much as using a classical or classically made shoe such as a Free, Suffolk, anything like that. So I don't personally love them for students either. So I see what she's saying. In terms of fitting your foot, I feel that because I have wide feet as well due to my bunions. So I don't know, I would suggest going to a shoe fitting and saying that you want to try other shoes, more classically made shoes. Like blocks are usually wider. They tend to be a little bit wider than Freeds per se, but go to a shoe fitting for sure because they would know your foot better than me anyways. Does stretching hurt anymore? Not entirely, but if I'm sore, I wouldn't say it hurt. It would just, I don't know, I just get tight and then I need to roll out versus stretch, and then I can stretch after I roll out, if that makes any sense. You know, the Cupid variation, I do. I taught that one to some of my students last year. Tips for preparing for summer intensives post-injury. Checking in with your physio, checking in with your doctor. You do not want to go into a dance intensive or a ballet intensive with an injury already. You absolutely want to be 100% or at least very, very close. You want to check with your doctor and physio beforehand, because I was the type of dancer that would just push regardless of what my body was telling me. And I suffered a stress fracture in my last year at ballet school, and I went back to it too soon. Even though the doctor said to wait a little bit longer, I went back to it because I was stressed that I was going to miss out. And then I ended up having to be in a boot for 8 weeks. So don't do what I did and listen to your doctor and physio. Tips for choreographing ballet routines. Honestly, watching your students in ballet class helps so much because you get to learn what they're good at, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and you want to showcase them to their best capabilities. You don't want to give them something difficult just for the sake of being difficult and being impressive, because if they're not comfortable with it, they're not going to be comfortable on stage, therefore they won't perform their best. Is it too late to start dance at 13? Absolutely not. So those are most of the questions, and those are all the questions I'll be answering for today. I recently bought the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk pencil and lipstick, and it's okay. I will say it's not entirely worth the hype of the money either. Like, it stays on really well and it's a really nice color. There are some definitely less expensive options out there. And since I am almost ready, I'm going to go and take Elsa on a WALK. It's gorgeous outside. It's sunny now. It was pouring rain this morning when we woke up, but now it's gorgeous. So I'm gonna go do that, and I'm gonna close out the vlog here. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I can't talk anymore. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Stay safe, happy dancing, and until next time, bye now.
Maybe I've been going nowhere lately. It's time to start all over and go for it.